March 6, 1944, 23,000 feet above Germany. The cold gnawed at the aluminum skin of a B-17 flying fortress named Hell's Fury. Frost crept along the frames, oxygen masks hissed softly, engines droned with the steady patience of machines that knew they were far from home. In the tail of the bomber, where the world narrowed to 2 trembling guns and a window of cloud and death, Staff Sergeant Michael "Mad Mike" Donovan watched 12 black specks rise from the haze. They were Messerschmitt Bf 109s, climbing into position with the smooth confidence of hunters who had done this before. Every manual Donovan had ever read whispered the same advice. Stay hidden. Wait until they commit. Fire only when they enter your zone. Conserve ammunition. Stay alive. But Donovan had never been good at waiting. He had learned long before war that hesitation got you hurt. And as those 12 fighters spread into their killing formation, he felt the old instinct rise again, the instinct that said survival belonged to the man who struck first. Michael Donovan had grown up in South Boston, where fists solved arguments faster than words. His father worked the docks, his brother boxed for trophies, and by the time Mike was 17 he had learned the mathematics of violence, 32 fights, for losses, and the lesson that action kept you breathing. When Pearl Harbor shattered the calm of December, Donovan enlisted without hesitation. They tried to make him ground crew, but he fought his way into gunnery school. Instructors said he was reckless, too aggressive, too willing to expose himself. Donovan answered with a line that followed him for the rest of the war. Dead gunners don't shoot back. Live ones do. He didn't graduate at the top for accuracy. He graduated for speed. He could find a target faster than anyone they trained, not because he waited for it to come to him, but because he hunted it before it arrived. When he transferred to the 390th Bombardment Group in England, Hell's Fury already carried a reputation. 3 missions, 2 near disasters, and a tail position no one wanted. The last gunner had survived but begged for reassignment. When Donovan volunteered, the pilot, Captain James Whitmore, warned him about the statistics. 38% of tail gunners never finished their tours. Donovan only smiled and said that meant 62% lived. Then he added quietly, "I don't wait for them to shoot me." His first missions proved the difference. He didn't sit still and react. He fired early, far, sometimes when the odds of hitting were almost nothing. But the fighters broke formation. Attacks dissolved before they began. Ammunition disappeared, but so did danger. And every night in the barracks, Donovan studied German tactics until he realized the truth no one had written down. American gunners reacted. German pilots dictated. The enemy chose the time, the angle, the rhythm. All doctrine assumed the attacker controlled the fight. Donovan wondered what would happen if the defender refused that role. On the morning of March 6th, the briefing room at Framlingham was heavy with silence. Augsburg was the target. An aircraft factory deep inside Germany. 800 bombers. 2,500 fighters expected. Intelligence predicted blood. Whitmore told his crew to stay sharp and stay alive. Donovan asked for permission to try something different. He said it calmly. He wanted to attack first. Whitmore hesitated. Ammunition was life. Waste it early and you died later. But Donovan spoke about the casualty rates, about 2 years of playing defense and burying tail gunners, about changing the game. Finally, the captain nodded. "1 mission," he said. "Prove it." They crossed the channel at dawn. Entered enemy airspace at 0824. At 0919 the call came. Fighters at 6 o'clock high. 12 Messerschmitts formed up 2,000 yards behind them, neat and patient, preparing their run. Donovan did not wait. He opened fire. At that range the bullets might as well have been prayers. Tracers arced through empty sky. But the effect was instant. The German formation scattered like startled birds. One broke right, another climbed, the rest hesitated. The attack collapsed before it was born. Whitmore told him to stop wasting ammunition. Donovan told him to watch. The fighters regrouped, cautious now, probing instead of charging. Donovan fired again, short bursts, not to kill, but to unsettle. And when one veteran pilot pressed forward anyway, Donovan let him come close, closer than Doctrine allowed, until the fighter filled his sights. Then he unleashed everything. The Messerschmitt vanished in fire. And the sky understood what had changed. The next attacks came in pieces, then in waves, then in swarms. Donovan shifted targets without mercy, breaking leaders, shattering formations, calling to the waist gunners when threats split. In seconds, 3 fighters fell. The rest fled. 15 minutes later, 18 more came. They attacked from every angle. Donovan chose violence again. He ignored the sides and focused on the throat of the assault, pouring fire straight into the heart of the formation. 2 fighters disintegrated before they could fire a single round. The rest broke and ran. By the time 48 fighters gathered for the next attempt, Hell's Fury was alone in hostile sky, drifting away from friendly formations, with no escort and barely 400 rounds left. Donovan asked permission to attack again. Whitmore stared at the ceiling, then gave it. Donovan fired into the center of their organization, into the place where coordination lived. 1 fighter burned. 2 collided. 48 aircraft dissolved into chaos. But time ran out. The last swarm came fast, furious, and close. Cannon shells tore metal. The bomber shuddered. Donovan fired until his barrel smoked, until pilots' faces filled his sights, until the guns clicked empty. "I'm dry," he said quietly. And then something impossible happened. When the final formation approached, they saw the twin guns tracking them, steady and patient. They saw the man who had slaughtered their comrades still aiming, still calm. They broke. Empty guns had become weapons through reputation alone. The Germans left them. Hell's Fury bombed Augsburg and limped home through hostile skies untouched. When they landed, the ground crew counted 47 bullet holes and 13 cannon strikes. All ammunition gone. 12 confirmed kills. 4 probables. 3 damaged. In 4 minutes. By nightfall the story had spread across England. By morning, generals arrived. Donovan explained what he had done, not bravado, just logic. Attack before they're ready. Break their confidence. Make them react to you. They took him from combat and put him in classrooms. The Donovan Doctrine was born. Aggressive defense. Seize initiative. Intimidate first. Focus fire. Accept risk. Within months, tail gunner casualty rates fell. Fighter attacks collapsed before they began. German pilots learned to recognize the signs: early fire, sustained bursts, tracers cutting through formations, and they turned away. Donovan trained 300 gunners. Those men saved thousands. And then the war ended. Donovan went home to Boston. Built houses. Raised children. Refused interviews. When he died, 17 people came to his funeral. No honor guard. No salute. But somewhere in the memories of men who made it home, his name never faded. Because on one cold morning over Germany, one tail gunner refused to wait for death. He went hunting first. And the sky never forgot.